Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Masks: A New Generation on CharismaToAC. We're playing Halcyon City Defenders. I have the good honor and pleasure of being your GM and host for tonight, Daniel, and I'm joined today by our entire cast of teenage superheroes, starting with Joan.
Hello.
Brain.
Ginger biscuits. Oh no.
Rasmus.
Huh?
AJ.
Hi.
And Thelmet.
Hello.
So, we're all here. We're all ready to get back into the swing of our teenage shenanigans. But before we do so, we should do a quick touch-up on what happened last time. So,
Oh, God, yes.
who wants the hot potato on this one? All right. Rasmus, why don't you take it?
Stuff happened. It was awesome. You should listen to it.
That is definitely 110% true, but
I
maybe
was-
not in the same venue of helpfulness as was originally intended.
I don't understand.
All right.
It's so much happened that I actually think it's difficult to give a proper recap this time.
Last time, I shall give it my best effort. Last
Let's hear it.
time, you all got up and started your day. Some time had passed. We figured that there were some consequences for time passing with two of your characters, as we do. And as you went to school, something is snapping in the background. What's snapping?
Someone is
My
chewing.
legs.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's a chewing sound. I didn't recognize what that sound was. Okay, so but you
Pork
went to.
crackling, sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, it's fine. You went to school. We got to see that there was still some tension between the group of you. Some of this tension started to get alleviated as people were starting to plot vandalizing a fellow student's car, a local asshole by the name of Josh, his chief crime was being the boyfriend of Morgan, who is the queen bee and bitch supreme of the sophomore
Bitch.
year.
Bitch Supreme and Josh the Jock.
Yeah. So you took a little bit of a different approach to what you did that day. Vigil got in a fight and was summarily sent to the offices of Mrs. Barnaby to answer for his actions. Starlight vandalized the car.
Good
White-
girl.
White Sparrow and Nightshade, you both were kind of chill about your school day, largely. And of course, you don't attend school, Diamond. You work there.
Yes, she caught a rat, and after that she took part in aforementioned vandalizing.
Yes.
Oh, and she talked Starlight out of playing hokey.
Yes. Then, as the school day broke, you each went your separate ways. Some of you went to have a conversation in your ramshackle arcade headquarter. I can't verbally put quotation marks around the word headquarter, so I'm just gonna leave it hanging there. And while you were there, you had a rather serious conversation about the dynamics and the workings internally in your group, in the Defenders. About feelings, about how some people had felt treated, and it got very heated and very emotional, and ended on the note that Diamond and Vigil essentially made peace, and there was also a broader sensation of peace and camaraderie spreading in the group on the tail end of that conversation. In the meantime, while this was happening, White Sparrow memory wiped her parents, then broke into her school, disenrolled herself from the school.
Hey, the second part was Monica's idea.
I guess the breaking in part was her idea, but she went in to steal some tests, and you decided to disenroll yourself. Memory wiped your parents of your own existence and took your stuff and left. disenrolled yourself from the school, then went with Monica on a drunken bender, and then returned to the headquarter that same night to have a conversation with your teammates. But upon arriving there, everyone kind of agreed that it was late and everyone was tired and you were drunk. So people are kind of like just expecting it, like, let's pick it up tomorrow. And so you went to bed with that understanding that was what you meant to do. So
Yes.
I'm kind of like curious. Before we start, actually, I start talking about your characters and so on and all that stuff, I think we should do this time that we did not do last time, because we dragged on a little bit long last time. What do we call last time's issue? What's the name of last issue and what's the page art? Because we did not actually touch on that.
Oh. I think the name of it is We Can't Have Nice Things.
Okay, I would be okay with We Can't Have Nice Things.
No, that was a joke.
I would still be okay with that title.
I'm okay with that title.
Come on, John. You usually have some good ideas for names.
No, I'm.
What's the matter, Rasmus? You set fire to your mattress and no one's putting it out?
I'm sure we can't have nice things.
Last time, I think Breaking Point is because it really was a breaking point for several people.
Yeah.
That is true.
It was in different ways, obviously, but I definitely see it as a breaking point for the group. There was a breaking point for White Sparrow. There was just generally a lot of standing at the precipice and making a choice of whether to jump or step back.
So basically, me chewing pork cracklings makes sense.
Yes.
There's a lot of snapping.
Ermagerd.
I reckon the page art of last issue would be like just a worm's eye shot of Vigil in like taking up the left hand side of the cover and Diamond taking up the right hand side of the cover. Nothing in the background, and just them shouting at each other.
I like it.
Yeah, so do I.
All right. So let's talk briefly about your characters. Introduce yourself by just give us a rundown of your character, your playbook, what's up with you, any conditions you might have marked, and we'll get into the swing of things once we've been through everyone. So let's start at the top as we do. Let's start with Diamond.
Diamond has Diamond is going by the playbook called the Bull. So she's the classic powerhouse, beat things up, it's clobbering time sort of thing. Well, she is. She's got her labels is a freak of 0, a danger of 3, and that's locked. Savior of -2, so for God's sakes, whatever you do, don't get yourself in trouble and expect her to bail you out. Superior is all the way up to 3, and I'm not quite sure how it got up there. And the mundane of nothing. And she's got no conditions at present, which is a small miracle, again, if you ask me at least, considering everything that's happened. She's got influence over everyone, and she's got the Bull's Heart special thingy mabob, which is what makes the bull stand out. And in this case, she's got her friend Starlight, whom is the love interest, so to say, but it's a friendship relationship. And her rival is actually no longer Finn, but Finn's mother.
Curious. So tell us a bit about that.
She has a very, very serious problem with what Finn said last time about how he was raised as, well, quite frankly, he was raised to be a warrior and a weapon, and that struck a massive chord with Diamond, obviously, her having been built to be a weapon. But whereas she can sort of however distasteful she thinks it is what she was created for, she is a robot. So she realizes that, all right, that was what I was built for, and it's the onus is on me to break free of that. But she is livid that anyone would do this to a human being, and especially to a child. That for her is the epitome of horror, and because Palla has not put a stop to it, she really wants to find the woman and force her face halfway through the crust of the earth.
Sweet. Sounds wonderful. All right, so let's see about your playbook here. So, is this one of those cases where when you shift, you can change the nature of your relationship? I believe you can.
How do you mean?
So you've changed your rival. So
Yes.
the role you have in relation to your rival might also
Yes.
change.
As far as I know, I can basically make changes to the bull's heart at any time.
Yeah, you can change your love and rival at any time. Give the
yeah.
new subject of your affection or disdain influence over you. So Palla takes influence if she didn't have it before.
Yes.
Take +1 ongoing on any action that impresses your love or frustrates your rival.
Yes.
Choose a role you commonly fulfill for your love or rival. So what's your role for?
The role for Palla is enabler. She keeps the same as she did with Finn earlier, in that she thoroughly detests the woman, and really, that's also why she would have influence. Is that it's not that she really lends much credence to what Palla thinks of her, but at the same time, she dislikes the woman so intensely that it doesn't take much for her to be hurt by what she says. It's almost like she wants to be hurt by her, because she's just, she wants another reason to beat her up.
Of course, and you allow yourself to become invested.
And indeed, and I mean, in this particular case, she's already gotten it established with Palla that Palla already considers her an adult from an earlier fight with her. Now it's going to be even more complicated, because obviously, strictly speaking, Diamond is not an adult. She's not even a human being.
Strictly speaking, Diamond is what, like 3 years old?
Yeah, between 2 and 3.
Now I have to remember how old Sparrow is.
Anyway, I think that's what I have.
Yeah, that touches pretty nicely on White, not on White Sparrow, on Diamond. Thank you very much, Joan.
No problem.
So, next up, Finn. Tell us about Vigil.
Well, Vigil or Finn?
Yeah, yes, tell us about both of them. Finnova of the Vigil.
Yeah. Finn is a character of the Legacy playbook that has many problems, but I don't know, Diamond is not anymore one of them, I suppose. Yeah. No, but like his playbook is all about having relationship with his legacy, which is a Vigil, in this case, a group of Arthurian-style arcane guardians, and living up to their expectations and dealing with all of that stuff. Also, what's the other interesting things? Yeah, he's currently probably awaiting a backlash from his entire family.
Yep.
Slowly approaching.
Recently failed your relation to your legacy.
Yeah, my one-time passive moves. His labels are currently Freak at 0, Danger at 0, Savior locked at 2, Superior at -1, and Mundane at 3. It's like a super relatable dude, right?
Awesome.
Self-deprecating, but still relatable.
Hey, you gotta work it some way.
Yes.
Okay.
And he has 3 conditions: afraid, insecure, and hopeless.
Delightful. That's a beautiful cocktail of emotions right there.
Yes.
Okay. Nightshade, tell us about yourself.
Nightshade is the Janus playbook, meaning he juggles superhero life and the real world. And speaking of that, I probably have a job that's going to bite me in the ass before too long.
Yeah, you also failed your when time passes move,
Yep.
causing trouble in one of your responsibilities.
Oh, are you saying he's got trouble in paradise? I got the first one today.
Oh, yeah.
What we really ought to do now, as of that horrible pun, is that we should change the name of your workspace to Paradise. It should no longer be the Bean
Oh,
Juice
yes.
Cafe. It should be the Paradise
okay.
Cafe.
Oh,
Okay with that.
yes.
So that's an official retcon, ladies and gentlemen. The barista that or the coffee
Yay.
joint that he works.
Yeah,
at
that
is-
joke. Sorry. That joke was too bad. I almost screamed SOS.
Yeah,
It is now the Paradise Cafe. Cool. There we go.
I like it. I am currently afraid. I have that marked. My labels are Freak -1, Danger 0, Savior 3, Superior 3, and Mundane 0.
All right.
I also have unlocked the drives from the Beacon playbook.
Yeah. What's your current
And
drives?
so my current drives are make out with a teammate, tell someone your true feelings for them, kiss someone dangerous, and punch someone you probably shouldn't.
All of these are great.
I'm begging you, don't make out with Diamond. It's a really disturbing mental image.
Your tongue gets stuck in a piston.
We all know. To be fair, we all know
horror.
who he wants to make out with. We all know.
Whew.
All right. So that's all for Nightshade. What about you, Starlight?
All right. Muted and all that.
Yup.
Yes, that's the thing. I is the Nova.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yep. Nova playbook.
And
Incredible
my-
powers, but little control.
And my frig has gone down to 1. It's horrible.
Oh,
Alright.
why are we so sad about that? You're no longer feeling like such a freak.
But that's bad. Because that means less control over powers. Seriously!
I don't know what you're talking about. Not feeling like a freak sounds like a wonderful thing to me.
Yeah.
You feel like you belong so much.
But then she
Daniel.
can't be a hipster anymore. It's horrible.
Daniel, be quiet. You awful human being.
But on the upside, my savior is now 0, my superior is now 0, and my mundane is now 0.
Oh, what did your danger look like? Did you say?
2.
Okay, so a pretty solid line all around. What
Yeah.
about conditions? How is poor
only-
Starlight looking?
I'm down to 2. I don't think I've been this low in conditions since we started.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah. I think this is the lowest she's been for quite a while.
You are suddenly no longer quite the neurotic mess that you usually are.
Oh, she still feels guilty and she's still completely hopeless, but other than that...
You know, it's you have to take what you can get, right? It's the small thing, small step, teenage.
It's the small things, right? If I can get rid of guilty, then she's only hopeless. Woohoo!
You have like all these problems, you know, like one day you have to fucking do schoolwork, another day your parents want some bullshit, the third day a giant mechanical T-Rex shooting eye lasers is stomping down Central Square. You know, it's just like regular life bullshit messing you up. It's completely understandable. Everyone could relate to that.
Just
Of
do
course.
crime.
Totally. Or some such. And last time she got her new move from another playbook.
Yeah, that's true. You got your bad girl move. What's the
Yeah.
name of that move again?
Blow off steam.
Yeah, that's the one. That allows you to remove conditions if you do crimes, basically.
Yeah.
That's so
Crimes?
good.
Crime.
Crimes. We night in the wood now. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Woo!
Play that game, ladies and gentlemen. It's great.
It's amazing. I love the humor in it.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Is
yes.
there anything else about Starlight we should talk about?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think we'll skip right ahead to White Sparrow. White Sparrow, tell us about yourself.
Yo,
Sup.
I'm White Sparrow. From
Why do you sound like Tiny Thunder?
Because I'm White Sparrow.
White Sparrow is trapped in the super slow-mo every time she tries to save someone, right? And like we Zack Snyder the imagery, and it's just like goes super slow. Hi, Starlight.
Oh God, this is awful. Stop
Well,
it. Stop it.
so-
This is silly.
White Sparrow is, as I said, of the Doom playbook. She is one Doom's tick away from unlocking a new Doom sign, which I suppose is both good and bad.
Yeah.
She's actually also one potential away from getting an advancement, which I can use to clear Doom sign if I want to. But let's have a look at that when we get
Where's
there.
the fun in that?
Exactly. After a fun and joyful time last session, she reached the maximum number of conditions, but spending some time with Monica and other stuff actually brought her down to just feeling afraid and guilty. So
Right, you
Yes,
you
that-
cut loose last time in a big way, and in a way that is very likely to have like ramifications for you. So naturally, you cleared a lot of conditions doing so.
Yep. Surprisingly enough, her freak is still at -1 because apparently, that whole thing didn't make her feel like an outsider. Danger is at -2. Her savior is at +3 again, where it belongs, and I will lock it as soon as I get the possibility. The superior is at +1, and her mundane is at +2.
Alrighty.
That's cool.
You know what I realized that we've not touched on for the past couple of times that we've introduced our characters? We haven't talked about
But-
our
My
relationships, which we should totally do. So, just to quickly run, like, let's go over everyone again, but like in backwards order, and like just quickly touch on our relationships. White Sparrow, what are your relationships to your group?
I am in a relationship with Martyrdom.
Sounds about right.
All right.
Your new landlord is going to be Diamond?
Let me just
Yes.
find it. Okay.
That's true.
In regards to relationships, I have told Starlight all about my doom and the danger I'm in, and I swore her to secrecy, which I suppose I'm now going to break for her.
Yep.
I would love to kiss Nightshade before my doom comes. Of course, I also don't want him to actually be hurt by my not being a real person, so I'm trying to distance myself from him currently. And I knew him from before he donned the mask,
I
and
swear.
he knew
you-
me
you
from
were-
before I died.
The whole I really want to kiss him, but at the same time, oh no, I mustn't let him get too close. That you are Starlight belongs on
Eggs.
every single. Oh, sorry, not Starlight, but White Sparrow belongs on every single teenage not sitcom, but what's it called? The teenage televised drama in history.
Can you feel the angst?
Yes,
the
yes,
other-
I actually can.
The unofficial theme song of White Sparrows temporarily become self-esteem by the Offspring.
Oh, good grief.
All right,
Do
so
you want me to tell you who I got influence over?
that's not necessary. We'll get to that like over the course of the game if it's necessary. But knowing what your relationships are is pretty cool. So Starlight,
I'll just say it quickly. It's everyone plus the substitute teacher.
nice. All right, Starlight, what are your relationships?
Well, Finn got in trouble for me,
All right,
so that's nice.
true.
Okay, it was a little sad that it was that lot of trouble, but okay.
Yeah. what
And
else?
I hurt Sparrow.
Yeah, that you did. All right, thank you, Nightshade.
White Sparrow knew me before I donned the mask.
Hmm.
I refused to tell Vigil my secret identity when he first asked.
Okay. What about?
And-
Oh, sorry, you had 3. That's right.
And I think the only one we haven't covered was Starlight hangs out with me to blow off steam.
Oh, right. That's
Used to.
yeah. That's
Used to.
actually Starlight's relationship to you, but I get it.
Yep.
Okay, Finn, what are your relationships?
Oh, no. They change so much.
You're total. Your relationships changes so much.
Okay. I once got caught doing something that changed my legacy with Starlight.
Mm-hmm.
And I trust Nightshade and told him an important secret.
Alrighty. And Diamond, of course, you don't have any relationships like officially from your playbook made with this group, though that could happen over the course of time.
Yeah, but I think while she may not have relationships defined in that way, I think she certainly has relationships defined by other things with, pretty much with everyone by now.
Yeah. Also, your first relationship, the blank is your love, you've opened up to them about the worst parts of your past, is definitely true for Starlight right now.
Yeah.
So in that regard,
It's true for most of them after last time.
yeah. All right. Well,
Let's face it. So yeah.
we've introduced our characters. We know our situation, and I think in the wake of the heavy issues of last issue, let's just like jump straight into the deep end of the pool, and rejoin our intrepid teenagers in the arcade. So a new day dawns. Orange sunlight spills over Halcyon City. The part of Halcyon City where your arcade is in, where do you reckon that is, like aesthetically speaking, right? Because it, as we've established before, Halcyon is kind of like an equivalency to Marvel's Manhattan, right? Like there is literally everything. You have Hell's Kitchen for gargoyles and brooding, and you have weird gleaming pristine towers for awesome, like more aesthetically pleasing, I guess, or aesthetically sleek stuff. So what's the aesthetic of the area in which your decrepit mall exists?
I actually kind of imagine that it's located in a part of almost like a rundown. It's a residential area, but it's half empty. It was one of those building projects that was supposed to be, really fancy and really, cutting edge and super modern in the late 80s, early 90s, and maybe mid 80s actually, considering the name of the mall. And it was, everything was really, really smart and cool. And then somebody discovered that there was asbestos in everything, and basically people just moved out, and nothing, all the private houses had asbestos roofs or whatever, and everybody just left, and the whole thing fell to pieces.
Like
so it's overgrown. The land around it, or the site around it, there is probably like a huge parking lot out fronts. Mm-hmm. Which was supposed to hold something like 6,000 cars or something like that, and now it's just cracked, and there's grass growing up everywhere, and there's old oil drums that homeless people have used for to burn fires in, because some of the few cars that are there have been made into, again, homeless people shelters, basically that sort of thing.
I'm imagining I'm imagining the projects of Baltimore.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's a good comparison. Yes.
All right. Thank you. That's cool. I reckon that like somewhere in the outskirts where that part of town started meshing with more proper and like more upstanding parts of town, there are like recently erected billboards of like local Congress people or like candidates for the mayoral office who like giving a thumbs up, and like below like in brightly colored letters there's like mayoral candidate Jeff McDaniels is promises to bring jobs and homes back to the destitute parts of Halcyon.
Yes, so something like that. I mean, it looks like, as you said, like that part of Baltimore, or 3/4 of modern day Detroit.
Yeah.
You know?
I get you. Also, hello, people from Detroit watching. Your city's a mess. Let's
Get a new governor, guys.
All right. So, okay. So we fade in on that, right? We have a couple of establishing shots as we do. You know, like we're in Halcyon. We're in this place, and then we focus down on like from watching the unfolding low income housing to focusing on the semi collapsed mall. And yeah, in there. When are you waking up? Because last night was a fantabulous night of excess. So, is it early morning when you get up, or is it like past noon? When is this?
Starlight wouldn't be able to sleep at all because she knows what's going to happen the second Sparrow wakes up, and she's worried.
I think whenever we do wake up, I actually think, just like in the last comic when we first saw Sparrow, she's been awake for a while, but just kind of been staring into the ceiling.
So tell me, when you are a being comprised primarily of like a psychic projection made manifest by the memory of something, though you retain like biological impairment, like, you know, bodily functions, getting angry, getting horny, all that stuff. When you have that going on, what's it like having a hangover?
I actually just thought of something that I want to run by you.
Yeah.
So since her default mode is, you know, being human, but she also has shape changing as part of her power set by virtue of being a projection. I imagine that normally she would be affected as human, but could spend energy as if shape changing to kind of ignore that, if that makes sense.
I don't understand what it is you're trying to say.
Are
you saying that you could turn into a hippo?
Under her control, that she could spend some of her, you know, she sometimes goes to the sanctuary to recharge, that perhaps you could spend some of her positive energy to kind of ignore the being human part as she does when she shape changes.
You mean like tide over your biological functions?
Maybe.
I mean, I reckon maybe, yeah, that could be a thing. It's like, do you reckon that's the case? Like, how good of like a level of control do you have over the aspects of yourself that normal teenagers don't?
I think perhaps that this is very much a, like, I can miss a night of sleep and kind of power it away, but, you know, consecutive nights will be more and more straining and probably a bad idea kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. So you woke up feeling drained. That's a thing that happened, right? Like emotionally taxed, physically taxed, hangover, headache, the knowledge ringing in the back of your mind that you have something unpleasant that you need to talk to your friends about. And from there, you decided to like expend your positivity to like drain at least the hangover away.
Yes.
So when we see you, when we focus on you, like describe the shot of you like waking up and starting and you like launching into the scene.
Perhaps, as I said, we might see Sparrow staring at the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And initially she might have, I don't actually know what the symptoms of being hungover are. Like, do you have bloodshot eyes and stuff like that?
Usually, well, yes, if you've drunk enough, then you would have bloodshot eyes. You would have a feeling like somebody has filled your mouth with cotton balls. Basically, a hangover is the result of dehydration. That's why your head is hurting. So you would feel thirsty,
Nauseous.
probably have either nausea or the runs.
In that
Or
case,
both.
I think we see her wake up with bloodshot eyes because she's also been crying, so that might, and being slightly pale looking, and then over like 3 panels, she glows slightly and then looks normal, but otherwise continues to stare up into the ceiling,
Cool.
hoping time will stand still so she doesn't actually have to do anything today.
I reckon there's like a somber tone to the palette of those like few panels of you like starting to glow, and then even though you like physically like look better, the way the paintings are made, like they're like artistically portrayed in such a manner to imply that this is like not something that leaves you better, but instead feeling drained.
Yeah,
So there's
I
a
think you could
juxtaposition
probably play with the light of dawn to kind of make that kind of mood lighting as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like the aesthetic here is juxtaposing what you look like with what you feel like.
Yes.
Okay, and then what? You like I like have the scene here. You initiate events here.
I'm gonna hate myself if I don't do this because she's lying there being all dramatic and stuff,
Mm?
right? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? Sorry. Come on, Shakespeare.
Yeah, Shakespeare. Just of course in the comic book of
I'm a horrible human being, I know.
it's K.
Well, I think eventually she'll turn her head and probably lock eyes with Starlight, who's been looking at her all worriedly for I don't know how long. Morning.
Starlight doesn't know how long either. Morning.
How are you?
Alright. I don't think I need to ask you. You look like shit.
Thanks. She tries a smile. Emphasis on tries.
Starlight gives her a comforting smile back. With a, yeah, I can see you're trying. I appreciate the attempt.
And then she'll probably look to see if Diamond's awake.
Diamond is sitting in her chair, the one that she's been, in. Actually, also when the same chair she was sitting in when Starlight came by and she was feeling horrible.
What does that chair actually look like? Because
It's
in
like
my...
a really deep, rather frayed reclining chair, or really comfy chair.
Did you uproot like a barber chair from somewhere in the mall?
No, it's soft and comfy, and the sort of thing that you can really sink into in such a way, especially when if you sit in it like that and you have your arms on the relatively high armrests, then it looks like your back gets a little crooked, and you kind of look like you're looming even though you're sitting down.
I get you. That chair
that
definitely has a diamond indentation in it.
Yes, it absolutely has a diamond indentation in it, especially because obviously she's actually quite heavy, something which she's never really considered until recently. But she's obviously very heavy. She's made from metal. So yeah, it's got a diamond-shaped indentation, and she's sitting there. When they look at her, this is the creepy part, because she's not looking robotic. She's looking like a human being, but her eyes are open, and because she's not moving at all, she looks dead.
So she hasn't turned on for the day.
She's probably on a what's it called? She's doing a data recovery subroutine or something.
Sure. There's like an internal shot of your perspective with a little bar that's like almost reaching full. It's like recharge cycle complete.
99%.
Yeah. And then you can wake up.
Yeah, then I look up.
Hey.
Hello? Did you sleep well?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I tried.
Should I get you another bed?
I don't think the most comfortable bed in the universe would have helped.
Oh, so you're not feeling good. Okay.
Well, I was hungover and nervous.
Yeah, you did say you had some things you wanted to talk about when you woke up. Just bear in mind, as far as I'm concerned, you don't have to if you don't want to. You don't owe me that.
Well, I really don't want to, but I want to.
Fair enough.
Looks
I'll-
like a short circuit in Starlight's head. Like what?
I don't do wordplay. Could you?
Not this early. Come on, come on.
So talk over breakfast?
Sure. I'm definitely I'm fine with that.
I imagine breakfast is awful. Like,
Why?
stop me if I'm wrong, but like, breakfast at Diamonds sounds like the antithesis of what Sporty McPerfect would eat for
Yes!
breakfast.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
they do have Starlight there who can make a decent breakfast.
Yeah, but like, how,
Sporty McPerfect.
that's you. Like you,
Oh.
like Trek runner, aspire, like diligent student until recently.
Yeah. I guess
And then there's Diamond who literally digests fast food into engine grease,
Well,
meaning
although I
everything.
suppose it's readily abundant.
Yes, it's readily abundant. It's very high in fat, which is why she eats it in the amounts that she does. So yeah,
What does she
yay.
do with the waste then?
It all goes into a small internal what's it called it all goes into a small internal combustion engine. Yes, very efficient one. It burns the whole thing. That's what, or not a combustion engine. I would say probably more like a small internal reactor of some kind.
Nice.
Because why not do the creepy thing?
Yeah, why not?
Sure, why not? So
we make
during
breakfast.
during/post breakfast.
I think we see a shot of Sparrow kind of, I wouldn't say playing with her food, but kind of moving it around in a stalling manner.
Sure, if only breakfast would last forever, then you wouldn't have to tell anyone.
And then she sighs heavily.
Yeah,
Best get it over with.
it really doesn't sound like you want to do this.
As I said the other day, this will hurt me, but I think I'm at the point where it will hurt me more if I don't.
If you're certain that that's the case, I mean, if it hurts you, then But okay, I leave it entirely up to you. You're the one who knows.
Okay, here it goes. I think I'll start out with a question.
Yeah.
And I know that in light of recent events, this can seem highly insensitive. It's not meant to be.
No.
But, and she looks Diamond straight in the eyes and says,
Yes.
What would you say constitutes a person?
Oh, no, that's not insensitive. It's a damn good question, and one I have a lot of difficulty answering for, I hope, fairly obvious reasons. But to me, it's many things. It's being human. I mean, being a person means having free will, the ability to learn, to choose, to grow intellectually, emotionally, so on. Being a human means having flesh and blood.
I suppose that's a good answer. Well,
Starlight feels out of place now.
in that case, I am probably a person, but I'm not human.
Right, you could have fooled me.
That's, I suppose, part of the point. Okay. A few years ago, a girl named Ileana North suddenly became quite ill and was rushed to the hospital. And she was hospitalized for quite a long time as her condition deteriorated. But,
Hey.
hospital, so it didn't go as fast as it otherwise would have. While she was there, she discovered something wonderful, that she had the power to create psychic constructs. And as you can imagine, most people would do, she spent the many, many hours confined to a hospital bed, imagining what it would be like if she was a superhero, because she actually had the potential.
So let me just want to be, so that I don't misunderstand anything. You are Ileana North. Am I completely off the mark here?
I think the best answer is maybe.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It'll probably become clear. So, unfortunately for her, her condition only continued to get worse, and her thoughts of saving people and superheroics turned to, this is so unfair, and I don't want to die. And, well, they turned very, very dark. You know how the whole stages of grief thing kind of goes, I guess.
She kind of for a moment she looks like, she her eyes grow a little distant while she goes on the internet in her head and looks up the stages of grief, and then she nods and says, yeah, sort of. I'll do more reading on it in a moment.
You know what? I want to throw in something that's like, it maybe unsettles you a little bit here, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
I think when you do this and you're like, oh, let me just check about the stages of grief, you're about to boot up your browser. Instead, like a folder on combat psychology like automatically opens within your cortex.
Ooh.
And for a second you can't shake this like dirty feeling of like this is a wrong thing to do to Sparrow, right? Like,
yeah,
that file should not apply to this conversation.
Yeah.
And then you probably like shut that down and like
Oh yes.
go on the internet.
Close folder, thank you. And
Also,
then, yes.
just to like, because I don't want to interrupt the conversation, right? Like, keep it going. But I'm imagining while you're having this conversation, White Sparrow, that like the way we see this is not just like speech bubbles. I'm imagining like monochrome imagery of your past overlaid with like text while we see you having this conversation.
I sort of imagine that, that we actually see Ileana in the hospital bed, getting weaker and weaker and darker rims around her eyes and that sort of thing.
Precisely, like interchanged with pictures of you guys like looking at each other having the conversation.
Yeah.
Go on.
At this point, I don't think Sparrow's looking at anyone but her hands, slowly pulling whatever food she was eating apart to itty bitty pieces.
Like, just like deliberately avoiding eye contact.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
That makes all the sense.
That's like the aesthetic of this scene, I imagine. Like when you say, like she realized that she didn't want to die, like that's a clip of like a one frame of you like looking at your hands, leading into she didn't, and then it cuts over to like a picture of her looking at her hands in the hospital bed again, monochrome, and like saying out loud, "I don't want to die," like that kind of thing.
Yes.
Go on.
Well. Yes.
Well, as far as the world knows, this is when a miracle happened, and her powers somehow allowed her to get better.
Okay.
But Ileana North died quite a few years ago. And her death resulted in an explosion of psychic energy that manifested in different points. 2 of them primarily, but I've found others after.
The room is starting to grow darker now.
The first one mirrored her early thoughts of grand heroics and saving people, bonding with a superhero group and generally living her life as a superhero. That point of psychic energy became the construct White Sparrow. And she swallows hard.
Okay, at this point, I just think Diamond's mouth forms an O shape. Oh.
Starlight just looks down at the... Why is there echo?
I don't know. Is there an echo?
Anyway, I heard myself as loud as I was talking myself, and I
Oh,
still
okay.
do.
That's curious.
Anyway,
Everyone
Starlight-
say something.
Go on, AJ.
Starlight just looks down into the table and has a hand on Sparrow's shoulder.
She is trembling.
Yeah, it's just, I'm still here. No darkness is going to swallow you while I'm still here, don't worry.
As you might have noticed, I tend to prefer using my ability to create psychic constructs because I suppose that is my real ability. The fact that I can move really fast and be strong and change my shape, those are mostly because I am a psychic construct under my own control.
At this point in time, it's not like it stopped being that the shadows are growing darker. Like the panels are starting to be drawn like real chiaroscuro style. There's more darkness in each panel than there is light, and it's like like creepy lighting.
The other point of psychic energy was overwhelming. It was all the grief and fear and anger and guilt and despair she felt. It formed into a psychic entity known as Black Raven.
Right.
She is... and
Break Rasmus for a second. You cut out when you got to she is.
oh,
Yeah, I think you need to speak up a little.
sorry.
I know that you're
I'm trying to do the whole voice thing. Yes.
I know,
okay.
but it doesn't. When you're at that internet link, we know it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
that's
understand the
true.
tone that
Yes.
White Sparrow communicates in.
Yes.
She is she feeds off all of those things. Suffering makes her strong. And when we were made, we both just kind of knew that one of us had to swallow the other in order to become whole.
Right. Okay.
And well,
So let me get this straight. One cannot exist without the other, but if you do merge, one of you will, strictly speaking, cease to be.
the other will become real.
Right.
Though I don't know if we merge to become a whole being or if one kills the other and absorbs the power, or I don't know.
All right. So, 2 questions.
Yeah.
Firstly, how do we find her? And secondly, how do I beat her ass?
I think she chuckles at that, actually. Well, I don't know. I think maybe, like, I have my sanctuary, which is another of those points I talked about.
Yeah, we've been there, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she might have one just like it, just...
Except it'll be very dark and gloomy and unpleasant and probably in a place not unlike this one, except nasty, whereas this is really cozy and nice and stuff.
Yes, and
Yes.
it might shield me from sensing her.
Right? So,
I've actually had a thought about that, Liana.
I think she flinches when you call her that.
You said your place were one of a very fond memory.
Yeah.
What if hers is one of a really bad one?
that's a very good...
And
actually,
where
that's
was
a
it
bloody
the worst?
brilliant theory.
Well,
Where was it worst? It was the hospital, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say. That's where you, because it is you, I don't really see it any other way. That's where you were at your worst emotionally. So that would make all the sense in the world if that's where she's hanging out.
And that would be the crucible of, well, all the horrible.
Yes,
I
exactly.
haven't actually been back. I think they rebuilt the site after the psychic energy exploded it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she couldn't just, inhabit the new place. It would still be the same geographic location, wouldn't it?
Or have a little pocket like you do.
That too. Or now, here's the thing. Firstly, you're not alone in this, and we're gonna dig out this Crete, and then I'm quite probably gonna tear her wings off and beat her half to pieces with the wet end, and then you can absorb what's left of her afterwards and become real, if that's what you want. You're not alone.
So I'm
You're
going
not
to
going to face this. You're not going to face this on your own, and I'm going to try to comfort and support here.
All right.
Seeing as you often tell us that we need to be better at remembering doing this.
No, you don't need to be better. I just remind you that the moves exist. Yeah.
We
you
should
may
also remember team moves.
make the move. Yeah, I was gonna address the Doom's team move in just a second,
Yeah.
and then I was gonna ask White Sparrow about something about the tone, but we'll take them in stride. So first and foremost,
Yes, I am just checking something in a hurry because I don't actually have any hold over White Sparrow. She's the only one in the group I don't have hold over, but I do have influence, so I at least have +1.
yep.
Yeah, I definitely remember this probably.
Bloody hell!
Oh,
That is it.
So that's
Yeah,
delightful.
and at least she's trying, but it's not probably getting across the way it's meant.
You're making a concerted effort.
Yeah, but I imagine, if I may suggest here, what I imagine is that Diamond being Diamond, she kind of sees this in a sort of, okay, we'll handle this in a physical way, because that's really the limit of her experience. And this is probably not something that can really be handled that way.
I
Yes.
think that makes sense.
So when you say, right, like, I will help you deal with this, and you're being very Diamond about it, right? You're contributing and being helpful in the way you know best how to. Let me comfort you by being like a strong pillar you can lean on.
And that's not what she needs.
Right. And when you do that, it has the unfortunate side effect that I'm about to tie into the fiction here. White Sparrow.
Yeah.
Throughout this conversation, ever since you mentioned Black Raven, the artistry in the works have gotten darker and worse and more twisted. And of course, in terms of what that feels like to your character, is a steadily inclining sensation of discomfort, dislocation, and horror. As you're breaking your doom sign clause, right? Like this is you earning a point on your doom sign, on your doom track. So why don't you tell me what the awful culmination of this is, and I will tell you, and like segue that into a little vision I will give you when Diamond says this.
So what did you want me to tell you?
Basically, like when you break your doom sign here, you were the first person to talk to someone about your doom and learn that you shouldn't. Right? You talked to Starlight about this before, and things got awful. Right? Like, and you marked your doom track. There was a sense of badness. Now you are 2 or 3 doom signs later down the track. Things are getting exponentially worse feeling when you do this. So I put it on you, like, if you want to describe to me, like, if you have an idea of what it feels like when your character breaks this doom sign clause, and if you like want to interject a bit of tone or action into what this is like to your character.
Actually, I might tie it into then the fact that she was trembling earlier. I think, in a way, it feels to her as if she has to actively work to not dissolve. Kind of like she's physically falling apart. Probably as if she's being pulled or torn apart by something.
You're a drawing of milk in a sea of black, slowly dissolving.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, so when this hits its worst, which is about the point in your culmination of the description of Black Raven, and this is about the time where your friend starts chiming in and being all helpful and like thinking about this like in a rationally minded way, right? They're being helpful, forward-thinking heroes. This is where you understand that they don't, right? Like they're thinking about this as if tackling a problem, and this is just a completely different kettle of fish, right? Like this is not something that you think about in the same kind of like direct way, and the hopelessness of this like so envelops you that it culminates in you having like a brief and like Vietnam flashback-esque like flash. When Diamond says like, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna beat her up and help you do this, and what you see is like this black and white and red caricature like scratch painting of Diamond being her worst. Diamond consumed by anger, of malice, of hatred, of envy, of all the bad things that she could that could possibly be caricatured of her negative qualities. That's like running bloody through a swath of innocent people, like stomping through destruction and ruin, trying to do something helpful and like just causing destruction through doing so. Good intentions turn to horrible mistake.
I am a horrible person, aren't I?
I think for the others, this looks like Sparrow's head suddenly snapping back and her eyes doing the thing where they turn all white and then black and red drops of blood and ink fill the eyes until they're completely black, and you know that she has a vision. But this time she also kind of mentions what is going on, but in that, you know, annoyingly vague kind of way.
Mm. Yeah, the core essence of the vision is that you see Diamond's good intentions turn towards this like evil bastardization of her own intent.
I think she might repeat multiple times, then good intentions turn to horror. Blood and gore strewn about.
Daniel?
Yeah.
I can see physically that she's in pain, I take it, right? That she did say that she was this was going to hurt her. She was very explicit about this, and this is clearly having a very negative effect on her somehow, isn't it?
This entire conversation is having a negative impact on the space you're in. These
Yeah.
artistic things I'm describing
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not
they're
just from
real.
Starlight's point of view,
No,
White
they're
Sparrow's
real.
point of view, and you can feel like the sense, this sense of like
All right.
your
then-
space
then-
fucking up.
Yeah, I need to ask then, because I can't remember what we decided on there, but can I voluntarily take a condition? Because I think at this point she feels incredibly guilty. She realizes that she probably just did something really, really stupid.
You can absolutely mark a condition if you reckon that this is definitely what my character's feeling, like in a very real way.
Yeah.
Then absolutely you can. All right, cool. So you
She
take that.
immediately, instead of sort of, trying to be strong about it, she puts, her shoulders sag. She looks, her face contorts in a pained expression, and she says, shit, I'm really bad at this kind of thing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Let's talk about your team move, Rasmus.
Well,
When White Sparrow shares a vulnerability or weakness with someone, you give them influence and you ask if they honestly think there's hope for you. Do you reckon that you have shared a vulnerability or weakness in this moment?
I definitely do, but I also think I have more I want to share, and I might just incorporate that question into the whole scene as in, natural.
Absolutely, you can segue into it, should you please, if you want to speak, act it in your incorporation. But yeah,
Yes.
okay. So we know this is a thing now. So go on.
Sparrow returns to reality, so to say, and I think this might actually be a good point to mark the next doom sign, since she broke the thing and got.
The claws, Tom.
Yeah.
The claws thingy.
Here's the thing, though. I've already got influence over her, and she just gave me influence again. Does that mean I should be changing labels
Yes.
on her?
Yes, it does. But we'll reserve
Yeah.
the mechanical.
Absolutely.
implications.
Yeah, sure.
But you're completely right. Good call.
I will mark the bolstered doom sign.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I can mark my doom track to use an adult move that one time.
Ooh.
And she returns to reality, as I said, and she looks distraught and confused for a moment, and then she looks at Diamond and says, I'm sorry, I don't know what has to be done. I don't know how to fix this.
Diamond just goes over and probably a little, not hesitantly, but awkwardly probably gives her a hug, because she's not sure if right now she should just, stay the fuck away. But, she's doing it slowly enough that she can hopefully
I think
read.
Sparrow takes the hug before Diamond does.
Yeah, I guess so. She's really right now. Diamond feels horrible about this.
Being very self-conscious of this conversation.
Yeah, Jesus fucking H bloody Christ on a very large motorcycle. I just screwed this up badly, sort of thing.
And then I think there are a few panels of Sparrow just kind of crying.
Hmm.
I recently, as you might have noticed, it feels like I've come into contact with her, and I've been able to channel that, but I don't know if that's us merging, or her taking control, or me taking control. I'm scared.
So while you're saying this, we see your third doom sign physically appear on your person, what does that look like? Because you're not necessarily aware that it's happening, but we as the readers of the comic book, like, you just get the full like horror shot of you like unaware, just like crying and pouring your heart out as you are like, oh, I'm afraid I'm getting into contact with her, and you're just changing in front of our eyes.
Oh, I know what it is. We see a panel of Sparrow looking up at Diamond as she says this, and the tears she's crying, they leave red streaks down her cheeks, and the red streaks don't go away.
Ooh.
Yikes, I love that.
That is creepy.
So you have your left arm, your right arm, and now you also like you see it start spreading to your face. Is that the gist here, like of this like warping effect?
Yeah, I think under her eyes, it's definitely red, and then she has the tear streaks just where the tears were, and then from her shoulders, where her arms attached to the rest of her, tendrils of red also kind of creep up her neck, though not all the way up.
So good, and yeah, you seem like unaware of this, right? But Diamond and Sparrow and us as the viewers, we're like keenly aware that this is happening, and it's like incontrovertibly as a result of what's going on in this scene, right? So yeah, but yeah, do continue.
It's unfair that Sparrow can look at herself from outside.
I think Diamond just doesn't let go of the hug, but she doesn't say anything else because she's very aware that she just, open mouth insert 2 feet and she's,
Forearms.
Yeah, that as well, and she's really worried that she's going to say the wrong thing right now.
And I think that's
Well,
Sparrow kind of bites her lower lip and then says, "Do you think there's hope for me?"
does Diamond want to answer that herself?
Diamond takes a deep breath because obviously that is a direct question to her. And she doesn't want to be flippant about this, quite importantly. She doesn't want to just, brush off the question. And she says, as a response, she says, "I'm not going to pretend this is going to be easy, but very few things in life that are worth fighting for are. And you're a fighter. You'll beat this."
All right.
See, when you told me, I said almost the same thing.
You get pulled into a group hug.
Mark potential.
Oh my. Ding! Let's see what kind of advancement.
Ding ding! Achievement unlocked.
Indeed.
You've now come this far without dying. Congrats! Yay!
I think actually for this I will unlock the ability to use my moment of truth. Because this was a very truthful moment.
Yes, that is a very literal translation of what happened. Yes.
That kind of works, actually, in a
does.
sort of funky kind of way.
It
Yeah.
worked from the perspective of what the moment of truth for the doomed says. It's basically, oh, this isn't your doom. Fuck it. You're going to beat it because it's not your doom.
All
Right.
right.
That makes sense.
All right.
Sure. So we have definitely a scene here of massive personal discomfort, I think, and also,
I think also, by the way, once she's cooled down a bit, Diamond will explain that telling this and talking about
Diamond
it
will
openly.
explain?
Yes, Diamond. I have merged with your character.
Oh, all right.
No, Sparrow. Wow, we're good at the name thing.
Yeah, we are.
She'll explain that talking about this openly and just basically mentioning it almost, makes it worse, which is why she has to keep it a secret as much as possible. And please also don't tell the others, please.
All right. So I was just about to ask. She says, if one of us tells it,
Ow,
it's
cat.
still going to be a problem. All right. I will put a lockdown on this. All right. Tell you what. Just to be on the safe side. Choose a password, please. Give me a password.
You gotta try and like lock yourself out.
I'm locking it down.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Let's see if you can do that. That's such a cool idea. Actually, we don't roll for it. You just say you do it, and we'll see if it works in the future.
Yes.
Sarah looks confused.
Give me a password. Something that like on a computer. Give me a password.
Gooseberry.
All right. Unless you and you only say gooseberry. I'm gonna lock this down. I'm not gonna be able to tell others if this, and she does say if this works as intended.
Will you remember?
Yes, I will remember. I just can't tell people.
Okay.
That's the intention.
You don't have to. I trust you.
I know, but we are also facing some very dangerous people out there, two of whom we know have helped in my construction. I don't want them to be able to access information about you guys if they catch me and take my head apart.
Oh, speaking of that, guys, I think Soren was somehow in league with Raven. I think she sent him power or something, because that lake thing we told you about was infused with her.
Right.
Yeah, I tried to lock it down.
Right. So.
I mean, he might be a good point of departure if we're going to find out more.
That sounds like a good idea, and I'm pretty sure that Finn wouldn't mind, getting some more information, if nothing else.
But he is locked up in the vigil.
Oh! All right. Can I beat them up just a little bit? Just a little bit when we go there. I promise I'm not going to make, I'm not going to make permanent marks on too many of them. Just please, can I?
As you say that, like that is like the trail-off conversation. That is where the camera like cranes out of the window and like like pulls out to like a larger frame view of the establishment. And that is the guys. That is we will do so after this break. So we will grab a brief break and be right back with even more superheroics. So be right back.